I was very excited about the Princess Bride version I had done of a musical. I think I wrote a tremendous musical version of it. Later on, when I got to know Stephen Schwartz a bit and Glenn Slater, it seems like almost everybody's got a Princess Bride version out there. It hasn't been done on Broadway yet, but almost everybody sees it as a great property. So it's funny, as I had tried to contact William Goldman, who wrote The Princess Bride, the book, and owned the rights. And
famous writer.
Yeah, this is a funny story. I will try to make it somewhat concise. So I had sent him a version of The Princess Bride. I had packaged it in this old leather brown book and pretended it was by S. Morgenstern, and those who know the original story of Princess Bride will get that reference. And we went back and forth, and he wasn't going to look at it. His lawyers were not having him look at it. And then I sort of put it in the back burner, and I was writing Sense and Sensibility and Englishman. I was finishing those up. And the DVD came out with of The Princess Bride, and it had William Goldman's director's commentary. So not director's, writer's commentary. So I was watching it, and I was thinking, wow, I really did a great version of this. I want to try to contact him.
He's got to know.
Well, yeah. And I thought, why give up on that? So at the time, they had all the phone books were available online. So I Googled the New York phone book, and in the New York phone book,
oh my God,
there were 12 William Goldmans. So I just thought, I'm going to start calling them.
Yeah.
So I start calling them, and like the fifth one.
Do you know what you're going to say, or are you just? Do you know even like?
Well, I know the basic.
Free, you're just pitching.
I'm pitching, yeah. And he had heard who I was. His lawyers knew that there was a guy out there who had written a version.
There's a crazy guy out there trying to get a hold.
Yeah. So like the fifth one. The guy answers, and I say, "Oh, is this William Goldman who wrote Marathon Man and Butch Cassidy?" And and he says, "Yeah." And I tell him that I have this musical, and he says, "Great, send it to me." And I thought, "Wow, that's amazing." So I'm putting the package together. Now I had just listened to William Goldman speak for an hour and a half on the writer's commentary.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm thinking, that guy didn't sound anything like the guy who talked on the phone.
I was just going to predict that. I was like, it can't be.
Yeah. So then I thought, well, I'm just going to call the remaining William Goldmans. And like
they all
two
said,
later, the guy answers and he says, hello. And I think, oh, this was the voice that I had heard on the commentary. This is the guy.
You're playing a little bit of the commentary. Yeah. You're listening on the phone, going back.
So we end up having a very nice 20-minute conversation.
Great.
He says, I respect the fact that you wrote this. He says, I really never envisioned this as wanting to be a musical, and I'm very reluctant to have it go that way. And legally, I'm not going to look at what you sent or what you did. So I told him there's a guy also who says, yes, he is you. And sends. So anyway, I gave up. I hung up. And I thought, well, at least that was a very nice, respectful conversation we had with him. And I was sitting there, and I thought, wait, if I got a hold of William Goldman that way, I wonder if I could get a hold of Christopher Monger.
All right, looking up Spielberg. No,
well, Christopher Monger had written...
He's written The Englishman.
Yeah. So I was, in my head, prepping how I was going to get the rights to that. That very night, I just got online, looked in the L.A. phone book, and found Christopher Monger, and I called him up. And he said, this is like finding out I have, I'm not going to imitate him, he has a strong Welsh accent, but he said, this is like finding out I have a child I didn't know about. He said, my American lawyers would tell me not to do this, but send me the child, we'll see what we think of it.
Wow.
So I sent it to him, and he liked what he heard. He gave me the rights to produce we did a workshop of it. It was workshopped in New York. Stephen Schwartz, who wrote Wicked and other things, brought it out to New York. And over a summer, we workshopped it for 2 different presentations. And Christopher Monger's been very patient because initially we got a lot of great response.
From the workshop.
From the workshop.
And the workshop was in New York City New York actors.
Across from Lincoln Center, some real actors who work on and off Broadway. This panel was made up of big names. Sheldon Harnick, who wrote Fiddler on the Roof, was one of the panelists. And it was kind of, they don't have a winner, but it was like the piece that got the most acclaim, and Stephen Schwartz brought me out to another event out in Colorado, and Wicked was just taking off. It was going, it was 2004, and it was a great. It was just
starting to blow up. Yeah, starting to really get.
It would have made sense for me then to move to New York because I think there would have been a lot of doors opening. At the time, I have 6 daughters, and at the time I had 5 of them under the age of like 7.
Yeah.
So it was not easy to make that move.
What was the moral of what do you think the moral is of the story of you calling up calling up William Goldman and Christopher Monger? A lot of people are, myself included, sometimes hesitant to ask the people who you are truly you're curious about, to ask a question. Why do you have the sense of, hey, let's just call him? Sometimes it's as simple as that, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't think it is, but
I think, and it might have been Mark Maron who I think he was talking about it, or someone on his podcast, but he was saying, a certain level of delusion is necessary to do these things. You have to kind of think you are that good, or that's going to work out the way you want it to. That delusion doesn't always help you in the real world.
Yeah.
But you have to have a certain level of and then I guess I believe that what I'm creating, not just in that piece, but I think in general, I think I'm trying to create stuff that really is at that level.
Yeah.
So I guess I believe that if I get the door open, that people go, oh, that's good stuff. And Christopher Monger said send it out, and he did respond in that way.